Welcome to Neurodivergency, where neurodivergent voices turn struggle into strength. We're here to break the stigma, dive into truth, and bring you real tools for clarity, healing, and hope. Today's guest is Ari Sarap. Ari, hi, welcome to the podcast. How are you
Thank you,
doing?
Anthony. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. Thank God. I'm doing good.
Pleasure. If you can introduce yourself really briefly to the audience, who are you and what do you do at the moment?
Well, I'm Ari Sarap. I'm a holistic ADHD coach for Jewish men, and I live in Israel. And I also am a Jewish energy healer, and I usually combine the two together. So, yeah, that's what I do. And thanks for having me here.
Perfect, wonderful. So tell us, what is your neurodivergent story? I mean, what were the struggles that you've dealt with in the past? Maybe how did you come towards ADHD as a label? And what does life look like right now comparing to that past?
All right. So that's a lot. So I'm going to try to decompartmentalize all of that and wish me luck. So, ADHD was really pushed onto me. I was diagnosed when I was 4, right? And what child should be diagnosed at such an early age? I don't think it's right. I think it's way too early. Let alone be put on medication at age 4. You see, I was diagnosed with ADHD at age 4, and I was immediately put on medication. So I was told that I have ADHD my entire life. And when I was 9, I was actually told that I have bipolar. I didn't find out until my mid 20s, basically early 20s, mid 20s, that I was misdiagnosed. But mind you, I was still put on bipolar medication from age 9 to 18, and I don't have bipolar. So from a very early age, basically my entire childhood to my entire adolescent and early adulthood, I was on medication, and I was told that something is wrong with me. Something's not right. And I was brought up feeling like it's more of a curse than a blessing. And I was never taught how to live with this thing called ADHD. I was never taught skills. I was never taught how to cope. Um, and that really shaped my life. It shaped me because I had to learn all this stuff on my own. You know, one of the happiest moments of my life, I consider to be one of the biggest personal developments of my life is when my psychiatrist told me when I was 18 years old that I no longer have to be on my meds. And I went home. My parents and I got all of my medication. We got a giant tall glass of water, and we put all the meds in that glass of water, and we watched all the meds dissolve. And it's one of the proudest moments of my life. Um, it was probably the proudest moment of my life until I got married and had my kids. But now I have the skills. Now I have the systems. And I may still make mistakes. I'm a human being. But I'm in a position, thank God, that I'm now able to pass it down to the people that I work with. And I'm not, I got my certification in the School of Hard Knocks, the real world. I'm not certified on a piece of paper. I don't teach from textbooks. I teach from real life experience, from being it, from living in it, from surviving it, from struggling with it, and now thriving with it. And I think it's very important when you have ADHD to have that support system, to have someone in your corner to remind you on a regular basis, like, nothing's wrong with you, my man. You're good. You're you just need some support, and I got you, and we got this. We can do this. You know, you have to be reminded that, like, I know in my own life, one of my love languages is positive affirmations. Like, I need to hear it. I need to hear it. I may know it, but I need to hear it. And it helps me, it motivates me, it reminds me. And that's, I notice that in a lot of ADHD men, like, we need that. We need that constant, like, tap on the shoulder, like, hey, you're good. You're not broken. You're not alone. Fall from it. Like, you're good. I love you, you know?
Yeah.
Did I answer all the questions?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And we'll dive more into the specifics about the ADHD and bipolar transformation journeys in a little bit. But right now, what I'm curious to know, and you've started answering this a little bit, but I'd love to get the kind of full formats of the answer to this one. Imagine that me, as the person sitting in front of you right now, was the previous version of yourself. Now, it could be you as a 5-year old, it could be you as a 10-year old, or as a 15-year old. You get to pick that version of you, but it's a version of you that was struggling, and I'm asking you for help. Now, what would you say to me for help? What would be your speech or message to me right here, right now?
Throw the speech is in the trash can, baby. Like, the speech is not what we need. Like, to go expand a little bit more, it's like, if there was a way to just skip all words and go straight into a hug, and you have that feeling, it's like, hey, this guy has got me, you know? This person sees me. That's what every ADHD man really, really, truly wants. He wants to feel seen. He wants to feel like he's not that broken person, that he's good enough, that someone recognizes his strengths, because since a young age he's being told what he's not good at and how he's a problem, and the story needs to change. you know the story needs to change, and everyone that I work with, they have that in common, right? And I'm sure that you can agree with this too. They want to change their story. They're tired of the negative things that people have constantly told them their entire life, which has become an inner voice that is played on repeat, which is not actually their voice, but it's a voice that's stuck within inside of them. And they're ready to get rid of that. They need to change it up. They're ready to flip the script. That's what I would want to, that's what I would have wanted to hear when I was younger.
Yeah, so big hug, and
Big
you are
hug.
loved.
You're good
You're
enough.
not broken.
You're not
Nothing's wrong
broken.
with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you know what I would have said? Really? Nothing's wrong with me? Like, I'm telling you, like, everyone has their own story. But I was told, man, some horrible things my entire childhood, that I actually had to do a lot of deep work to believe that that wasn't me, that it's not true. Like, my nickname in my neighborhood growing up was the devil child. My friends' parents would call me the devil child. That screwed me up for a very, very long time. When grown people in your community call you the devil child, it's like, man, like, am I really that bad? I've had people, when I was, in camp, I had a tantrum. I was out of control, and the camp counselors were like, "You're the worst kid I've ever met in my entire life." It's like, these statements stick with you, man. Like, and you start to build an identity around them. Like, God forbid we see this, and God forbid this ever happens to anyone, but we see this a lot in women who have been raped or molested, right? That now they associate men with what was done to them, right? They have this identity that they hold on to now. And that's the last thing that we want to happen. Someone tells us enough that we're horrible. We don't want to have the identity that that's what I am, you know? And it's real work of being able to shift it, being able to recognize that even though people have said the most horrible things imaginable about myself, you know, or they have done horrible things to me, I'm making a conscious decision to not make that my identity, to know my self-worth.
Yeah, it's really intense how much our life experiences and the labels that we get put on have an influence on our psyche, our beliefs, our self-image, and that just spirals into so many other areas into our life. Um, yeah, I really appreciate you sharing about the devil child. That's super powerful, and really glad that you were able to do that deep work and really reframe that and rewrite that story so that now you can help other people do the same with whatever their equivalents would be. So I'm curious to know, tell us a bit more about what your transformation journey was like. Because I mean, from a 4-year-old being fed meds, kind of getting that blueprint that something is wrong with me and I need external meds, all the way to being able to quit medications and then become an adult and have the tools, have the systems to be living med free, I'm guessing. And
Thank you, God.
yeah,
Thank you. Yes.
tell us a bit about that journey. What were the big milestones? When did they happen? And how did they happen?
So, like I said, right, I got off meds when I was 18, right? Not because like I wanted to. I've been wanting to get off of them for a very long time, but the psychiatrist said, "Hey, if you want to get off them, you can." So that was the beginning.
But what was there anything that triggered being able to, like feeling confident enough that there is no problem, or was there any inner work that happened between taking meds and being able to stop them?
So I'll tell you, I something that I've come to learn, right? Especially being an ADHD coach, and I just it just everything I've seen, it confirms what I've always believed in, and that is, and there's also studies on this too, by the way. So just don't take my word for it, but your symptoms as an ADHD with ADHD is going to change throughout your life. So as a child and as an adolescent, I had a lot of trouble communicating, a lot. And I would have tantrums. And even in college, I had less in my first year of college. I had less. Maybe it only happened like one time where I really just lost it. Something really, really deeply triggered me. But I was still on medication, by the way, in my first year of college. And I would say what changed was the older I got, the tantrums were not as often. And that's also why they thought I had bipolar. But, as we know that emotional regulation and impulsivity are one of the major things that ADHD men and women struggle with. So we have a lot more information today, thank God.
I'm curious to know, how did the bipolar layer in? Was it related to the tantrums, or did you
That's
experience
what they thought.
mania?
Just because I've never had a manic episode in my life, but because I would have these really exaggerated scenes, right? These tantrums, they thought I had bipolar. And whenever I would have these tantrums, they would give me bipolar medication, strong enough doses that can knock out an animal. At one point, I was on 1,500 milligrams of something called geodone, right? And done completely. If I accidentally took these meds in the morning, I'm not going to school. I'm knocked out. It's like it's like a roofie. Like you have no control of your body. Like no control at all. I once took it to get a little personal. I once took my meds. I was in boarding school and I was given my meds before movie night. And the movie was on campus but away from the dorms, across the campus, right? Like not in where the dorms are, but on the other side of the campus. And I was knocked out, but still conscious in my mind, but no, I couldn't speak. I can't move. I still have image of what was going on, but I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. And whew, there was guys who brought me back to my dorm room, and they were being inappropriate with me, you know? And I couldn't say anything. And I couldn't move. And I felt completely helpless.
Wow, but you were conscious and you were experiencing it.
Yeah,
Damn. Yeah, that's
yeah.
intense.
Like they're like taking my clothes off and and it's and this is why I'm so I'm such a believer that we have the tools. We really do. We have the tools. They might not be so defined right now. You might have to work on them, but every single person has the ability to really learn how to turn ADHD into a superpower, to really rely on yourself and not on medication. Because I don't want anyone to ever have to experience what I had to experience. And that's only one story, you know? But it's like everyone says, like, oh, you're taking meds and it's helping you focus and it's helping you get regulated. But no one ever talks about these stories. Like, what's the cost? You know? And no one should ever have to go through that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's just the short-term immediate cost. The other question is, what's the cost of taking it for 30, 40, 50 years? Is it going to kill 10 years of your lifespan? Is it going to kill one of your organs?
I found out, that's so funny you said that, because I found out 2 months ago that I have liver issues. I have liver issues, and there's a lot that goes into it, but I really do feel like a big part is being on meds at such a young age. And so, yeah, you're 100%. Like, we need to be mindful. And I feel like this generation has hope. I feel like our parents' generation, it was like you do what someone told you to do. It was like the generation of the sheep. And now I feel like, what's the term? People are woke, like people are waking up, people are doing research, and people are not jumping when they say jump. People are challenging things, and this is good. This is good. We need to be able to use our mind. We have to be able to challenge things. And just because someone says this is the way you have to do it, no, it's not. No, it's not. And if there's another way, if you don't feel comfortable with doing what someone is telling you to do, if you don't feel comfortable with getting on medication, then there is another way. And you just have to do the research and figure out what is it? What door? I have all these doors, metaphorically speaking, and which door am I going to open up and walk through? I'm not just going to take the first door that comes my way. That's crazy, right? Like they wanted to do an endoscopy and colonoscopy to check what's going on with my liver. And when I found out that they were going to put me to sleep and give me fentanyl, which is one of the strongest opioids in the world, and if I actually have liver issues, this would be detrimental. Are you kidding me? You're about to give me fentanyl? And I was like, nope, we ain't doing that. And I started searching for other doors until I found a door that made sense to me. And that is how we need to view life in every situation. If something doesn't make sense, right? Door number one doesn't make sense, then you start to find what door number two looks like. And so on and so on and so on.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I very much relate. I actually got tingles when you shared about the authority and the mix of generations thing, because we're so programmed uh, to be sheep, especially when it comes to things like the medical system. Of course, who are you as a non-medical professional to even doubt what a medical professional would say? But actually, the evidence in the world is that the medical system is not able to deal with all the mental health crises in the right way. There is so much misdiagnosis. There is so much uncertainty around medication. There is so much experimentation. You can have the best psychiatrist in the world. They're just going to play a guessing game based on the stories you tell them and the pharmacy that they have in theory, that can only be the result can only be through experimentation and trial and error. But actually, in that whole process, we've lost our own agency and our own belief in ourselves as an authority as well. And so this is one of the messages that I really want to emphasize, is that you are the only expert on your own life. This has been the case for my story, and I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the same thing with you. You've been able to challenge that and go through different doors to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, 100%. No one is going to invest in you like how you invest in yourself. No one's going to take an interest in you like you're going to take an interest in yourself. And no one wants the best for you like how you want the best for yourself.
True words of wisdom.
You got to work on that. If you're feeling low and you're not loving yourself right now, no one else is going to love you if you can't love yourself. And there's so much to love, and you got to tap into that. And it makes sense when, especially ADHD guys who are having trouble loving themselves, because, again, all of these negative beliefs at such a young age. But it is vital. We have to take ownership of our life. And don't even get me started with doctors and this and that. Like, I can go on and on and on, right? It's a gigantic ego trip, right? But it's like, yeah, you're right. They're not equipped for this stuff. And they're not invested in you. They're not invested in you. How many people do they see every day? You're literally a number on their clipboard, right? Take, no one's going to invest in you like you're going to invest in yourself. It's very, very, like, just people are going to give you opinions and this and that, what they learned on page 22 of their medical, textbook. But I just made up page 22. There's no page 22. But again, it's like you got to want to do this for you. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, if you imagine all of the kind of self-love problems related to ADHD and all those beliefs of I'm not good enough, or there's something wrong with me, I'm broken, all of these ideas. What do you think of the idea that this is all coming from programming as opposed to any sense of truth?
It's very interesting because when you're born into the world, you start to see and react to from the people who are closest to you, right? You're learning. The moment your eyes open up, you're learning. How does my mom react when she gets upset? How does my dad react? The language that they use, their their demeanor. You're a sponge at that age. I think a big part of ADHD is also breaking the cycle. And I think ADHD, I know a lot of people would disagree, but I think ADHD is a real thing. I really do. But I really do think, and this is where um, we can get lost in the sauce, but it's very important to understand that you are much more, much more than your ADHD, right? You're a neshama, right? What is a neshama? Neshama is the Hebrew word for a soul. You are a soul in a body. You are not ADHD. Yes, you have symptoms of ADHD that you struggle with, but you are not ADHD. You're much more. I think the only purpose for a label is for us to really understand what we struggle with so we can get better at it. But you won't catch me saying, hey, I'm Ari, ADHD. You know, no, that's not who I am.
Yeah.
Yes, my profession is that of a holistic ADHD coach and Jewish energy healer, but it's not who I am. You know, yes, I'm diagnosed with ADHD, but it's not who I am. It's something that I struggle with, but it's not my essence. But again, like something I struggle with, but it's also, I was thinking about this the other day, man. I was like, if right now God said to me, hey, Ari, we can make a one-time switch for the remainder of your life. You want to get rid of your ADHD? And I thought about that. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't think so. And that's when it hit me. There's no way this is a disorder then. Because when you think of a disorder, you're like, heck yeah, get rid of that thing. But maybe some people are like, maybe some people would have a different answer, right? Maybe some people are like, heck yeah, I don't want this ADHD, get rid of it. But I realized my ADHD is what allows me to be personal with people, it allows me to open up my heart to people, it allows me to be creative and to think outside of the box to the point I realize that there are no boxes. It allows me to be the person I am today. And if it wasn't for ADHD, right, which has been a contributing factor of things that have been very hard for me in my life, I would have never learned the superpowers that lie within the ADHD. And I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing today. So, and I can't even imagine life without how my brain works,
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would look like. I'll tell you, my business coach is the complete opposite of ADHD. My business coach is type A personality to the fullest. The guy is a machine, right? And it's really like cool to see the complete difference of yourself. And when I was younger, I would look at like a person like my business coach and be like, man, why can't I be like that? Why can't I be like that? But with maturity and with growth and with really learning the strengths and understanding why you have ADHD and start looking at it as a blessing and not as a curse, you start to be like, hey, man, everyone is created in this world with their own gifts. You know, we need the type A's and we need the ADHDs and we need the bipolars and the schizos. The way that we look at everything, there are gifts underlining each thing. And also on top of that, it may quite be that you have this thing that you struggle with. For you to overcome it and become a master in it, so you can help the next person who is going through it. And that's something I've really learned through my work. Is like most likely one of the reasons I've had to have ADHD and go through all the crazy stuff I had to go through is so I can be there for other people, that I can help them. And then I really believe that's true for everything in life. You know, you don't go through a certain situation for nothing, right? And you're going to meet someone in your life who's going through something similar, and who are they going to want to talk to, and who are they going to need help from? Someone who has no idea what they're going through, or someone who's been in their exact shoes. And that's the mindset we need to have, you know? That's the mindset. Like, I'm going through this for a reason. Whether you believe in God or not, your creator didn't make any mistakes.
Yeah.
He didn't. And there's a reason. If you're going through this, first of all, he must believe that you're strong enough. And the second thing is that he loves you so much that he's allowing you to go through difficulties. Do you know it's brought down? It's brought down in the Torah, right? That a person who doesn't go through any hardships for 40 days straight, there's no world to come for that person. There's no heaven for that person, right? Like, this is his heaven, this world. 40 days straight with no issues whatsoever. It means this is your heaven. This world, this is your world to come. So if you're going through issues, that must mean like, wow, God loves me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a better place than this.
Yeah. And he loves me and he wants me to get there.
Beautiful.
Change that mindset.
Mm. Yeah. And that's again part of the programming and the learning and the skills. So you've mentioned a little bit the struggles of ADHD and reframing ADHD not as a disease, but something to embrace, something to cultivate as a superpower, and something to also be a teacher in the struggles so that you can learn, so that you can grow, so that you can become a better version of yourself. Now, I'm curious to ask you a bit more about the specific tools that you've encountered, used, or adapted. And by tools, I don't just mean like productivity hacks or focus tips, but also mindsets and lifestyle changes that you've made. So what are the tools that you've used in your journey to improve your own situation? And what do you kind of help your people with?
So mindfulness is a big one. Mindfulness, rewiring those negative beliefs. But the top of the mountain is not, it's a combination, but it's not giving up on yourself, and knowing that you're freaking awesome. And you're amazing. But to get to the tip of that mountain peak, I actually believe that, yo, I'm awesome. I have to fight those negative beliefs. Not just fight it, I have to rewire it. And mindfulness plays a big part of that. How can you rewire a negative belief if you're not being mindful? You're going to keep saying the same stuff. You can't rewire something about you. You can't tell yourself, I'm amazing, if when you get upset and you tell yourself, I suck. That don't work. Sorry to break it to you, but that don't work. There needs to be consistency. Now, how does mindfulness play a big part? Your health. Your health plays a big part. And a lot of people think that if I eat salads and drink smoothies, I'm being healthy. You need to learn about what does food actually do when you're digesting it. You know, like for instance, if you're going to get a smoothie, you can get, I know in where I live, they do this at the smoothie shops, but get a smoothie that has a lot of parsley in it and cacao powder, right? Like understand what these things do for you, right? Don't get just something that's like sugar, 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 because fruit has a lot of sugar in it. Get a smoothie that has greens and chia seeds and turmeric and ooh, I'm getting thirsty thinking about it. Like, you got to feed your mind. Feed your mind. Eat things that can, do research. There are drinks you can make, electrolyte drinks, some coconut water, some lemon juice, a little bit of honey, some sea salt. You got yourself a dopamine electrolyte drink right here. I hope people are writing that down. Like right there. That's a pick me up you could do.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, drink out of glass. Don't drink out of plastics if you can help it. Try to not use so much aluminum. Limit your use of aluminum. Limit your use of plastic. If you have a choice, pay a little bit more money and get paper instead of plastic.
This is for the toxic particles that enter through the
Every
food.
everything affects us.
Yeah.
Everything. Everything. The more mindful you can be on how you're living your life, the healthier your mind is going to be, the healthier your body is going to be. If my gut is healthy, my mind is healthy. You know?
It's a huge, huge topic, definitely. The gut microbiome and nutrition impact on ADHD symptoms. Big, big area.
I'm not trying to be rude or judgmental or anything, but how many moderately obese motivational speakers are there in the world? Just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to body shame or anything, but just there's not that many, not that I know of, right? Because and that is like you have to feel good about yourself. I'm not saying go get a six pack. No, I'm not saying that, right? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying take care of yourself and be mindful of what you're putting in your body. Be mindful what things are doing to you. How can I be healthy if I'm not living healthy? What is that? You know?
What can you share about sleep and exercise as well as far as lifestyle?
So, first of all, we have to understand something, right, when it comes to having ADHD. Routines are very, very, very difficult for us. They're very difficult. We could be on fire for a month if we're lucky. And then something happens and we're like, I'm done. you know? It's frustrating, right? But that's life with an ADHD mind. So why do I say that? Yes, sleep and exercise is very, very, very important. And you should always try your best to go to sleep before midnight because your quality of sleep is always better before midnight. I would say if you're able to, go to sleep and stop eating before 11 because your liver, for example, your liver is working between 11 a.m., right, sorry, 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. Your liver's working. That's when your liver is detoxifying everything. And your liver's not able to rest and detoxify if you're eating and you're up. Like it's better if you're like sleeping, right? So it's making those efforts of trying to just do the best that you can. It really is. Try to go to bed before midnight. Try to go to bed as early as you possibly can. But if you don't, do not beat yourself up, right? Do not beat yourself up. There's a rabbi from, I want to say, from the 1800s. And I love learning his teachings. His name is Rebbe Nachman of Breslov. And he says, one of the worst things that you can do is to put yourself in despair, is to beat yourself up over something that you did that you shouldn't have done. Because what's going to happen? You're going to beat yourself up, and now you're creating for yourself a pit. And the more that you beat yourself up, that pit is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're in that pit. And the bigger that the pit gets, the harder it's going to be for you to get yourself out of that pit. So yes, you should feel bad about something. There's a difference about feeling bad and beating yourself up over it, you know? And we have to know the difference between that. Now, that goes with working out too. Absolutely, you should be exercising. But there's so many ways you can exercise. You have to find what works best for you. And motivation to exercise can be very difficult. So your why has to be very strong. And some of us have to work on our why much harder than others. You know, like for me personally, I'll make it a little personal. I am not the biggest fan of exercising. It's hard for me. I know I need it. I know I feel good when I get into it, but to get myself there, man, it's difficult. And I'm married. I got 2 kids. I run a business. And I was journaling, momish, I was journaling today. And I realized what I have to do, which is I need to wake up. I need to go to bed like at 9:30 at night. And I need to wake up like at 4 something. And I need to stretch. I need to exercise, like some push-ups. And then I need to go jogging. And then I need to plunge myself in some ice cold water, you know? And then I need to go pray. And then I need to go talk to God in my own words. And then I need to learn some Torah. And then I need to eat breakfast. And then I can start my workday. That's a strong morning. And I know it would be fantastic for me. But I'm not type A, right? I'm not type A. And even if I'm able to get myself to do this, how long is it going to last? Right? That's that. And for us, we have to understand that's okay. We got to take what we're able to get. But the more real that we can make something, the realer it becomes. So don't get discouraged. It's like, okay, I only have a week until I give up. No, you have today. Every day is a new day. You don't know if you're going to have tomorrow. Hopefully you do, but you don't know. So just focus on today. Today is the day that I'm doing this strong morning routine, and just take it from there. Focus on today.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's true that everything related to health and performance is something that would help the overall picture, not only for ADHD, but actually across the mental health spectrum. And that includes all of the basics: sleep, hydration, nutrition, exercise, social connection. Um, you mentioned mindfulness as well as another tool important for really that rewiring beliefs and neural connections process. What other tools, if any, do you wanna share?
Write yourself love letters.
Beautiful.
Write yourself love letters. How many of us are just like, again, like that's part of the rewiring. Tell yourself, dear Ari, I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. I'm reading it. I know it was not easy for you to show restraint at the restaurant and not eat anything. Keep up the great work. I love you.
Wow.
Love yourself. Make it real. Write a letter.
That reminds me, it touches this idea of loving yourself, touches on the idea that our self is more than, of course, a label, but even more than just a mind and a body. You mentioned earlier a Hebrew word for soul, that we are a soul
Shama.
in a body. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about the kind of spiritual aspects of how maybe your philosophies and maybe how you integrate that into the work that you do?
It's important to understand that your soul doesn't want to be here. Your soul does not want to be in this world. Within Torah Judaism, we understand that there are 4 different worlds. And we are in the lowest world. And our soul does not want to be here at all. And because it just came from being in the highest world. And now it's the closest to the creator. And now it's in the lowest world in this body. So we need to understand that some people get so like caught up with their looks and my body, I'm this and I'm attractive and this. You're a body, right? That's how you're looking at yourself. I'm a body. That's me. I'm a body. I'm a good looking body. Really, we're bags of poop. That's really what we're walking bags of poop, right? And if it wasn't for my neshama, for my soul, that's what I would be, a walking bag of poop. But thank God I have this godly soul in me, right? And I also have animalistic tendencies, right? When I act on wanting to, eat whatever I want to eat, sleep with whoever I want to sleep with, do whatever I want to do. That's what animals do. That's what animals do. But your godly soul allows you to have discipline, allows you to be understanding, like, hey, man, I shouldn't be eating that. I shouldn't be doing that. Like, what? Like, no. So that discipline, that recognition, and the mindfulness that comes all into that, when you're able to create. I mean, when you're able to connect the higher power to your creator, and to understand what we're talking about right now, yeah, it shifts the way that you view the world. When you start to realize that, yes, my physical eyes see one thing, but there are things happening all around us that my physical eyes cannot see, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I have been in altered states of consciousness, seeing and experiencing things that I don't experience in normal, everyday waking consciousness. In fact, it's really hard to even separate the difference between dream and reality. What if reality was dream, and what if waking consciousness was dreaming, in fact, but with some weird level of different control. I mean, all of this, I think, is part of making sense of the world, of the universe, of what we are and why we are, and all of that influences what we believe, which also influences our health, including mental health. And so, yeah, I'm a big believer that the spiritual piece of the puzzle is a huge one, and one to really be aligned about when talking with people about whatever their struggles or goals are.
Yeah, 100%. That, when I was creating this powerful morning routine that I'm really hoping to start soon, God willing, I was trying to make sure that it had every element in it. Is it taking care of me mentally? Is it taking care of me physically? Is it taking care of me emotionally and spiritually? Because each one needs to be addressed. And especially when you're married and you have kids, or you run a business, your day can get away from you so quick. So you have to work on managing your time appropriately. Actually, we just finished today, before this podcast, we just finished in my group coaching that I host every week, a whole month on time management. And because this is something that a lot of ADHD men, if not all ADHD men, we struggle in different ways. We have to learn how to manage our time appropriately, because the day just gets away from us. I don't even know how it's Friday tomorrow. Like this day went by like that. So we got to be able to really figure out a system that works. So that's what we just finished up today, and next week we are starting on working memory. So all of these, understanding the different functions of your mind and how your mind works, and what's difficult for you, you have to learn how to work with it. Like, it's crazy that they don't teach this stuff like more openly. It's like kind of like what we were talking about before. You struggle with this, take a pill, but no one's saying, hey, you struggle with time management, let's learn time management. You struggle with impulsivity, let's learn how to handle impulsivity. We just want to put band-aids on people. We want to shut them up.
Yeah, it's the quick fix society that we're kind of co-creating with the rise of industrial and all this, but the waking up movement, I think, is here to
Yeah, I
find the
think so
right
too.
balance between those things.
I think from the millennial generation and also like Gen Z, I feel like we are changing, and it's good. It's good change.
Absolutely. As we prepare to wind down towards the end of the podcast, I want to ask you one more question. What is something that you haven't mentioned yet that you'd like to share with a neurodivergent audience, including a lot of ADHDers?
You gotta learn to laugh at yourself, man. You gotta have some humor. You gotta be able to laugh. You gotta stop taking life so seriously. Stop feeling like you're the victim. Life is tough. I really do get it. I don't want to downplay it. Life is really hard. But again, you get to choose what you want to focus on. Start to see all the blessings instead of all the negatives. That same rabbi that I mentioned earlier, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, one of the most powerful teachings of his, he shares that if a person focuses only on the good things in his life and in the life of others, that is all he's going to see in that person and within his own life as well. Like, there's no negative things at this point, because you're only focusing on the good. So it's something that I live by. It's something that I walk with on my heart. That I really try to focus on the good in my life, because focusing on the things that I struggle with, right, and just letting that lay heavy on me is not going to help me in any way, right? If I know there's something I struggle with, I need to be able to flip it. And if I flip it, then I'm able to find the strength in that thing, right? So instead of saying, wow, Ari, you could be really impulsive at times. Like, well, Ari, let's flip it, right? Ari, you could be really passionate at times, but how do we channel that passion? How do I channel that passion when I get passionate? Just changing the word, is huge. Passion sounds a lot better to me personally than impulse, right? And when I get passionate, when I'm triggered or something, how am I going to effectively deal with that with that passion? So it's a constant journey that we're in. But like I said before, right? Got to learn to laugh. And sometimes it's hard to laugh right when it happens, but then let some time pass a little bit, and then it'll be a better laugh. It'll be a better thing to think about and be like, wow, can't believe I was doing that. Wow, that's really funny to think about. Like, me doing that? What?
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, a thought that came through me when you shared about being able to laugh at yourself. I thought that sounds like the perfect medicine to perfectionism, because we're all so programmed to want to strive to be perfect, but you already are perfect. Just accept it, you know?
Laughter can diffuse the most upsetting situation, because when you're getting angry, there's a force from the other side that is trying to get you angry. But if you're able to be strong and laugh at it, can you imagine being angry at someone and you guys are like arguing with each other, and then out of nowhere, Anthony, you just go. The person you're arguing with is probably going to be laughing too, and then you just broke it. So laughter is underestimated. Laughter can save your life. Laughter can decrease stress. Laughter can just make everything better. It really can. Be happy.
Absolutely. Amazing. Thank you so much, Ari, for sharing all of your words of wisdom, your inspiring stories, your practical tools. I really enjoyed those smoothies. Your contact details and everything so that people can connect with you will be linked in the show notes. Is there anything else that you want to say about people or to people who are maybe interested in stepping into your world and connecting with you?
Yeah, look, reach out. I don't know if my program and my methods will be able to help you, but we'll never know if you don't reach out. We can have a conversation and to see if it's the right fit. But to understand there's someone for everyone, and you don't have to do this work alone. You could do the work alone, but you don't have to do the work alone.
Yeah. Yeah, and it
I
goes
really
back
wish
to the
I had
strength.
somebody,
Mm-hmm.
when I was going through all this. And thank God there's a lot of people in this space. Anthony's in this space. I'm in this space, and there's really someone for everyone. And that's why I love also about coaches and the wellness space, because there really is a neshama for every neshama.
Mm, beautiful. A soul for every soul, if I got that correct. Yeah.
You got it.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ari. Thank you for being on the show. And yeah, looking forward to more conversations.
Absolutely. Absolutely.